Welcome to the Data Unit NAACP monthly community meeting. Tonight's topic is titled, "What is going on with our youth?" Community meeting. And we want to, tonight's topic, on the night that we already had this meeting scheduled over a month ago. In fact, we've had this meeting scheduled since the beginning of the year in terms of youth development or youth and college division presented. But this topic we had now for about 3 weeks to a month. So on the same day that we're having this topic, we have another school shooting. And we want to take this opportunity to have a moment of silence for the following people. Evelyn Dickhouse, age 9. Holly Scruggs, age 9. William Kinney, age 9. Teachers, Cynthia Peak, age 61. Catherine Cruz, age 60. Mike Hill, age 61. And also the assassin who thought to go and do his heinous act is held at age 28. Also lost her life in this heinous shooting. But for these victims, 6 victims, 3 young kids, didn't even make it to double digits, and 3 adults. Have a moment of silence. Thank you. Before I turn over to our moderator for the next session, which is going to be our second vice president of our NAACP Dayton Youth Council, I want to turn over to our two of our advisors, Tawana Brown, who serves as the advisor of the Move Forward NAACP Thurgood Marshall High School chapter, and Maddie P. White, who serves as an advisor for our Dayton Youth Council. So that order. Advisor Brown.
So good evening, everyone. Yes, good evening, everyone. We thank you for coming out to join us with our youth. There is so much that is going on with our youth, and we just thought it was very appropriate to actually bring the youth together. A lot of times we sit down and we have conversations about the youth without them. So today, not only are they here, but they are the ones who are asking the questions. As a teacher, as they are the ones who are asking the questions. Teacher, they are the ones who are asking the questions. Think about, and I wonder what lies ahead for the future. And so we need to quit talking about what we can do and do it. And how we do that is by going to the source. So we ask that you guys listen as they share their stories, they share their concerns. Because now is the time, not tomorrow, not when there's another school shooting or there's another incident in the streets. It is today. So now I turn it over to my co-advisor, Maddie.
Treasurer and co-advisor for our youth council. I'd like to say that I want to echo the expressions that have been put forth. And just encourage the next people tonight who will be speaking to you. Encourage you to share from the breadth of your experience, from the depth of your heart. As you do your introductions and share who's on this panel tonight, we're excited to hear your voice. We look forward to hearing from you. And the hope is that tonight, those of us who are in attendance will listen critically and that we will begin to process analytically. And we are processing towards solutions. So with that, I'm excited and let's go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Laura Bonnie. I am the Vice President of the Canadian Youth Council. And today, we're talking with our youth to see what is really going on with our youth. I have a nice group of panelists up here with me today. We have Ms. LaDonna Hayes. I have Amaya May Winston, Jordan Young, Lassie Johnson, Escalade Draper, and Anthony Renner. So I want to start out with kind of piggybacking off of Dr. Forber talking about the shooting that happened today in Nashville, Tennessee. And I attend college, and here in the elementary school in my town where I go to school at, it really broke my heart. And on the same day that we're doing this panel, it just really it makes it make sense now that we need to talk about these things. So I want to first start with asking each of my panelists, have any of you dealt with any kind of gun violence at any point in time?
So me personally, I haven't, but I know my friends and their family and what they would be going through. I knew that they would go through it, but as a friend, they wouldn't tell me all the things. So it didn't happen to me personally, but I know that's.
I haven't experienced it myself, or thankfully I haven't had anyone I know experience it. But I do deeply sympathize for those who have experienced it.
Firsthand, I haven't experienced gun violence, but I do know just from hearing about all the different mass shootings and instances in the community that it has had an impact on my mental just when I am in certain situations and thinking about, if I'm at the mall or somebody, suddenly, just walking, start shooting people. So I would think that was the concern for me, and it's something that I unfortunately had to think about when I go in certain spaces, but I haven't experienced it, fortunately, that way.
Personally, no, I have not experienced gun violence, but I do have a close friend who did experience it. And to watch her go through certain stages after it happened and hearing about it years later and seeing how it affected her life, is something that's very traumatic. And that's really all I can say. It's not really much you can say when you haven't actually gone through it. All you can do is really sympathize and have empathy and be there for the people that happen to.
Me, I really haven't experienced gun violence, but two of my best friends actually have. So I had to watch them, and then when they had told me, I just had no words to say. So it was kind of hard.
I haven't dealt with gun violence, me shooting a gun or anything like that, but in my family, I have had losses to gun violence. And I mean, it is pretty devastating. You don't really know how to respond and how to react. It is a sense of hurt and anger, and sometimes it can cause I can say a disruption in the mind of your thoughts, but it's just how do you deal with it? How do you cope with it? Having the right people in your support system to be able to back you up when you do go through those things. As they say, there have been today people who have lost close. Yeah.
Thank you all for your answers. So now with that being said, I want to let you all know that we have a nice variety of ages and grade levels up here. And some that I do not know, I don't know exactly what age or grade level they're in, but I know we do have a nice variety up here. So for the ones who are in school, or you may not be in school, but just think about your daily lives. How do you feel safe, or how do you make yourself feel safe? Or do you even feel safe going to school or work or things that you have to do in your daily lives?
So I attend Charlotte Madison High School, and I want to say I do feel safe, but then again, I don't, because my school now has no, because it's kids bringing in illegal substances, and it was even an instance where my friend, she had gotten laced. So, knowing that the school has to bring in metal detectors is like something that no child should even have to experience. I'm only a sophomore, so I don't feel safe in that area. But I am in the band, so I do have my band family. So if anything, I know that they will have my back and I will have theirs. So when I'm with them, I feel safe. But outside of there, it's like, I don't really know, because the school having metal detectors is insane. And when we was having this conversation months ago, it was this little girl and she was saying it was kids, and she was like younger than me, and she was like, I want to say like first or second grade. And she was even talking about it was kids at her school. So now I definitely don't feel safe, because kids now younger than me is doing it better than she, because they're growing up and the adults don't feel no kind of way. They're just doing it around the kids, and then the kids pick up on their habit. And when they find out, they mad at the kids, but it all started with school. So me personally, I feel safe in some areas, but not always.
I would say, I kind of feel safe, but I also kind of don't. My school has a resource officer in our school that has to stand out, but somehow, like every time there's a fight, it's like there's fights like almost every day, and they're like, the resource officer was like never there, and I'm like, what do we have you here for if you're not actually helping with our students? And then they'll have police officers come in and they'll search the lockers have their dogs. Like last week, we had dogs come in and sniff all the lockers and go into the classroom. And it was just very like traumatic, because we're like these are high school kids and they're having these drugs in their lockers, and we're like, I feel like they feel like the only way that they have to cope is if they do these drugs, which is really hard. So it's hard to feel safe when you know, like, these kids could be on drugs, like, you never know what's going through their mind, you never know what they could, like, be on, and you never know what they might do. So it's, like, hard walking through the hallways, like, looking at people, you never look at them the same, because you never know who's doing what, and it's hard, you've always got to watch your back, and that's, like, a hard thing to say when you're in high school.
So in terms of my experience, I'm a college student who's currently on the gap year. I attend Morehouse College, in Atlanta, as many of you know, has a lot of things going on, in the surrounding area that we are in the middle of the city. So there's definitely a lot of things that you can, get caught up in, and a lot of students are influenced by those surroundings, unfortunately. So I do know, in my time at school, we dealt with instances of gun violence or drug issues and things like that. And it's really an uncomfortable feeling, and something that even in my time away from school has become even more apparent. This within the past few months, there's been a few shootings in the surrounding area on Clark Atlanta's campus. And then there was a student that actually died and his body was found on campus. So it's a really sad time that we're going through right now. And students are really mourning a lot. They are speaking out because a lot of the resources that are on campus and that are supposed to be there for us haven't been made that readily available in the sense of counseling or therapy and things like that. And fortunately, a lot of students have begun to speak up, and those resources are starting to be more available and are shown a lot more than they have been in the past years, that these students have really needed it. Now, unfortunately, because we've had these situations come up, it's starting to change. So again, it's unfortunate that these things are happening, but there's a lot of progress being made. For me, I had to take a step back and realize that, there's a lot of stuff going on down here, and I have a lot of stuff going on with me. So I had to be humble enough, love myself enough to say, I can take this time for myself and really work on myself. And, when the time is right to continue, I can do so.
Feel safe in my school. I'm sorry, I'm a substitute teacher at an elementary school. And I feel safe, but I feel like my students don't, if that makes sense. It worries me because they're very young. And one of my goals was, a lot of them do have behavior issues, and I try to get them to come and talk to me first before they act on anything. So I feel like that's what makes me feel safe, because building a connection with them, they feel like they have somewhere to go and talk before they act on anything. So, like what she said with metal detectors, it's very sad that kids in elementary school have to go through metal detectors because they're bringing objects from home to harm themselves. And that, once again, breaks my heart. So I'm more scared for them more than scared for myself, because some of them feel like they're not even worthy enough to live past the age that they're at. And they don't even know what life has yet to give to them. So for me, it's more of being open ear to them, because young minds have a lot to say. And I feel like it's very overlooked until the last moment.
So I'm a junior at Thurgood Marshall STEM High School. And at our school, we can't have any cell phones. Everybody knows that, it's a rule for DPS. But with the cell phone policy, they still check for cell phones more than they check for actual weapons and drug substances, which is actually quite concerning, because they'll suspend you over a phone if they find it. But then if they find like anything like weed or something like that, they only give you 3 days. So at times I don't feel safe, and then you just see people in the hallway just fighting out of nowhere, and then it's a commotion. And then you have to try and avert yourself from that, because if you're even found near the fight, then you'll get suspended along with them, even if you don't have anything to do with it. So yeah, they're good spots to be pretty bad.
Personally, I do feel safe because I've developed, I guess you could say, mechanisms to where, if anything was to break out, I know what to do or how to handle myself in situations. And I just try to be a guide and a resource to others who necessarily don't have that or don't know what to do. And I just try to be of support to people and kind of guide in situations like that.
Thank you.
So with that being said, I'm getting from a lot of you all that y'all will reach out and help kids. Because I'm sorry, it starts with us with you, and as all of you said, you guys said, you see different things that are going on. So being that one person that will listen to your friend or listen to someone who might maybe having a bad day, but that could go into, you know, suicide or mass killing or just drugs and things like that. So just being able to be a listening ear to kind of make people feel safe. So with that being said, about being safe in other environments, what about the home aspects of things? Because a lot of things start at home. We grow up, we're raised by our parents, and then we go out and into the world and meet different people and things like that. So my question is, how do you guys feel about being at home? Are you guys challenged at home, that you guys take that to school with you, or do you feel safe at home? Do you feel comfortable enough at home that you can go out and, you know, spread your awareness and things that you know to other people in the community?
Yes, I do feel safe at home. I do feel safe outside of home too, because I am not only in the band, but I also am taking karate classes, so. Not just, but, fun story, I know what my parents expect of me. Like, I am a 4.2 GPA student. I have to maintain my grades, and on top of that, I have a band director that does not play with my grades. So I make sure I stay on top of my grades, and on top of that, I make sure that my friends are okay, because some days it's like I don't want to talk about my problems, but then again, I don't want to be a burden to my friends, and they just, oh, I got this going on, and I don't want them to get tired of me. So I always make sure that I'm checking on my friends and making sure they got what they got going on. Because all my friends, they have sports. So I gotta make sure that we are all on the right track. So yes, I say at home. Yeah, yes, I'm safe outside of school.
I'm very fortunate to have a very stable home. I feel safe at my house. And I feel like my mom, she does like everything in her power to make me feel like I can openly share with her. And I feel like even though like being outside of home and going to school and everything like that, I always know that when I come home, I can just vent to her. And I feel like a lot of kids need that. A lot of kids don't have that. And that's sad. And I feel like things like at school, like counselors and stuff can really like step up and do better about that, because like at my school, our counselors, like we have to email them and book appointments to be with our counselor. Like you can't just go in and see them because they're like so like overworked, and it's just they're spending most of their time on scheduling detentions, scheduling suspensions, instead of scheduling time to actually speak with the students and see what's really going on, because most of the stuff starts at home, and you really need to like dig into these kids' emotions, because usually they have all these built-up emotions and it turns into anger, and that's what's causing all these fights and what's causing all these shootings. It's just very sad, because I feel like they feel like they don't have anyone to talk to and anyone that cares about them. And I just feel like something needs to be done in that aspect.
Yeah, to your point, I think a lot of people, a lot of youth in general do not feel safe emotionally. And I think for a lot of parents or parental figures in our communities, it's a priority to make sure our kids are safe. But I think a lot of times that aspect goes overlooked because we're so focused on providing, and a lot of times that's heavily dictated on how you can provide financially, or having a roof over your head, you know, all these necessities that, you know, we have as human beings. But a lot of times that emotional component is really overlooked. And I think a lot of kids do not feel safe expressing themselves, their concerns, their worries, their challenges, for fear of maybe disappointing those who have given them so many things in life, and how could I, be ungrateful for what I have, or how could I complain about what I have going on because I have all the other things. And I think a lot of that goes to the fault of us as those adults and as those parental figures, because sometimes we do make people feel, the youth feel bad for speaking up and saying those things when there's other concerns. And we resort to saying, well, I provide this, I provide that. How could you have an issue? You have all these great grades, you have a 4.2 GPA, how could you have issues that go on outside of that? And sometimes those things get overlooked. So I think the more we become aware of the mental, the emotional, the spiritual components to life, the better off we'll be.
Okay. I don't mean to offend anyone, just want to put that out there, but I feel like there's a big issue with parenting because of the community. And I mean that by, a lot of times, like in the Black community, I'm going to say that, we judge, but we don't actually offer a helping hand or give actual real advice. And as you see now, the pregnancy is getting younger by the age, it's getting younger and younger and younger. And a lot of kids and a lot of grown-ups, especially grown women, are judging these girls instead of trying to get to know them and trying to get to the base of why this happened and not going to the parent. I feel like a lot of the kids are punished for, I'm trying to say this. I feel like a lot of the kids are being punished for reacting to things that their parents do. But also the parents are also being punished for reacting to how their parents treated them. And it all goes back to generational trauma. That's really what it is. And I feel like so many families sweep things under the rug and it builds up. And I feel like that is why this specific generation is so hard to get a grasp on, because we've let it stay under the rug for so long. So when it comes to, it starts in the home, yes, but it also starts in the community. One person, like one word can change everything. So I feel like as a community, especially on the internet, if we stop focusing on all these celebrities and what's going on here and why racism is a big thing, yes, but we need to fix what's going on in the community before we can fix anything on the outside. So that's really what I want to get into, like, get into the depth, like go back a few pages and get to the root of the problem instead of blaming the now, because the past.
I feel safe at home. I love both of my parents. I'm raised by both of my grandparents and my grandmother. So I feel pretty safe by them and I adore them. But sometimes when I'm having a bad day, they don't know because I always say that I'm fine. So if they're having a bad day and I know that they're stressed, I just say, my issues don't matter. You're stressed, I'm gonna help you out. Because I also have a 7-year-old little sister and they're like in their 60s and 80s. So I try to help out as much as I can with her, but then she gets mad at me all the time because she complains that I'm being mean to her. But she's just a typical 7-year-old who wants to have her own space, and I get that. But she thinks that she is. Yeah, but either way, what I think could help with the home situation is just communication, because that's where we usually lack in. Most people don't like to communicate how they feel about something or even how they feel about someone. And they wait and they wait and they wait. And then the stress becomes to a chronic issue. And then once you start doing that, you just lose yourself at that moment. you actually have to look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, where is that shine that I used to have? And then it's replaced by a dullness, and you're just looking at yourself. And you're wishing you could get your past self back, but how are you going to do that? It starts with communication. If you actually communicate how you feel, a whole lot of these issues would be solved.
Can I see one quick? Okay, I don't really want to piggyback off what she said. Communication, I'm so sorry, but yes, communication, I feel is very strong for young people. A lot of times they're told, you don't know what you feel, you don't know how you feel because you're too young. Like I said, these generations are updating very fast, like they know what they want at a certain age because it's all being thrown in their face through social media, through the talk around them, like these kids are paying attention. So if a kid comes up to you and tell you that, oh, they don't like okay, I'm so sorry, guys. I have anxiety. I'm gonna do that now. So it's very hard for me to do this, but anyways, so say there's a kid at the table and they have green beans, macaroni and cheese, and like a piece of turkey or whatever. And they go, Mom, I don't want to eat the green beans. You're gonna eat the green beans. That may seem like something so small to you, but as time gets bigger, it grows into something else, and they'll that in the real world. Well, my mom told me, well, maybe I do like these green beans, but you get there and you know what, I'm getting so confused, y'all. I really hope that y'all understand. These kids know what they want. Sometimes they don't. Yes, they need you to tell them no. I understand that, but please listen to these kids because if you don't listen to them, they're gonna go and find it somewhere else. And they're gonna get the wrong answer, and they're gonna keep going back to that person because that person is the only one that is listening to them. So if you don't want your child doing something, don't just tell them no. No is not an educational answer. You need to give them a real explanation and show them and tell them that you can come to me about that.
So, yes, I do feel safe at home. I'm my mom, my sisters, you know, they support and what I have going on. And honestly, what I say to a lot of people who don't necessarily have that, it can sometimes come from parents not healing their own trauma, their own childhood trauma, and projecting it onto their children and projecting their fears onto their children. And so it can kind of create like a disconnection from the child to their parent, or even just the child to any adult, because like they said, I mean, like she said, they feel like, well, you young, what do you have to tell me? Or you don't really know too much because you haven't lived that long. It's a lot sped up in how children experience things nowadays. So what she was saying, listen to the youth, because a lot of the time they know more than you think. And so it's like, you deny and acknowledge, that's like me telling you, you don't know your name, but you know dang well you know your name. So how you gonna tell me, you know, what I do and don't know? So it's like, listen and at least take into consideration what your child has to tell you, what another child has to tell you, because sometimes the message is deeper than what you understand, because we don't see things from the same perspective. So understand each other's perspective, even the child, because the child sees things from, what do you call it? Innocent eyes, you know, so just remember that.
Well, I kind of want to touch on my own question a little bit because everybody's home situation is different. So you never know what people go through or who they have or who they don't have to talk to. So I don't have my mother, I don't have my biological father, but I have a stepdad and a grandmother and an uncle and a sister. And those people right there, those are the ones that I know that I can go to. Now, every time where my grandmother and my uncle, they not gonna listen to me because they, you know, they know what they know. But we know what we know as well, so we have to use that to kind of guide ourselves. And we might trip along the way because we might not listen but we gonna figure it out as we continue to go on by being able to have those coaches. I'm an athlete. I confide in my coaches and a lot of them, they're male coaches. So I confide in them, they'll call me to check on me. I need help with my car, my dad, I'm calling one of my coaches. So it's just like, you want to be able to have those people that you can talk to or just let them communicate with you or just one, even anything, a smile, a hug, anything like that. That's what the youth kind of needs. And as well as, I'm gonna get into the social media thing that was kind of brought up by everyone. Social media is a big issue now. Technology in general is just growing and growing and growing. So we kind of have to look out for our children and what they're looking at online, but everybody is not doing that. So I know a lot of us were older. I'm sure everybody has social media. Social media, okay, yes. So my question to you all is, how do you feel about the things that you see on social media? And what do you feel like, can you do anything about it? What do you think about social media and the impact it has on you?
Me personally, yes. Yes, I do have social media, but honestly, I do think it is bad. I can't even say any good things that come about it. You got shade room, you got inappropriate sites, like TikTok was such a kid-friendly app. Now you got some, God knows what is going on now. It's like, and then you get so addicted to being on it, it's like, okay, I'm gonna be on for 5 minutes. Look at the clock again, and it's 12 to pass. Like, it is so addicting, because I know I be addicted to myself. So, I can't say anything good about it, because, I mean, unless you want to check the weather app or something, what's good about it? Like, I'm still using because I'm a child, but it's not good.
Okay, real quick, how do you think that's what you see in your school and travel?
Oh, that's real bad. Cause kids, it's like, we just had a fight today. Cause apparently some girl that she go to this, okay, so we have a CTC. And it's where basically it's a whole bunch of kids from different schools go to this one building and it's all for career and stuff. So apparently one girl went to CTC, but they dropped the kids off and then they go to CTC bus. But I guess she was arguing with some girl because of a rumor that was spread online, and then I was there. But she just came up and slapped the girl the whole time. The thing was, so it's like they don't even take the time to think, okay, is this even true? Because I know there's been some really nasty rumors about me, but it's like you just gotta learn how to keep it moving. If you know it's not true, why would you entertain it? It don't make sense. So they need to learn how to get on social media and stop believing what everybody says, because not everything on the internet is true. Like, don't you think we got Wikipedia or that is not all this stuff on there is true. So they really need to take time and actually think like, well, why would we say that? Like, and you don't even know the person and you gonna argue. Like, connect the dots. So it doesn't make sense. So social media do play a big part, but it also is within the students, because you're telling me you a high schooler and you can't put two together. You gonna sit up here and just act like you don't know what's going on. You just gonna believe what everybody's telling you. What you gonna do when you get it? You know. Sorry, it just doesn't make sense.
I want to piggyback off of what she said with the like being high schoolers and like still like believing all this stuff on social media. Like I would get it. Like you're like in elementary school and you see it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is real. And then, but when you're in high school, you know that it's not real. So like, why are you doing it? And also, it's like kids in my high school just last year, they had this thing on TikTok called the Devious Flicks. And they were literally going into our bathrooms. Some kid took out a whole toilet, They took out the paper towels out of paper dispensers. They were taking down the exit signs. They were taking off doors. I'm like, where do you find the time to do this? And why? Like, you could do so much better, like with your time, and you're taking apart our school. And like West Trenton already isn't like a real wealthy school. Like, we already poor, and they already have, and they're taking away the stuff. Like, it was just horrible. Like, we couldn't use the bathroom. There was kids putting like icy hot on the toilet. Like, it was horrible. They were filling up the sinks with cereal, and like, I'm like, come on, like, we can do better than this. And I feel like we're just doing it just because like we feel like we can, and I feel like that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, I have pretty much every type of social media, so I see a lot of different things, and I have 3 younger brothers who are high school, elementary, preschool age, so it's a wide spectrum, but I see a lot of different things, I hear a lot of different things from them, and as an older brother, and being aware not to know certain things aren't true, and what to listen to, what you see on social media, and what not to listen to. I know for myself, not to pay attention to certain things, but I know they don't. So being an older brother, I take the responsibility in a way to be there for them, and I'm young enough to relate to some of those things, and also old enough to understand, a little bit more than they do. So I'm genuinely curious about the things that they see and the way that they perceive things. And I think that's the key to it all, is to be curious and not be so defensive all the time, and be so, to Clashing's point, say no to everything, because there's always going to be distractions in this world, whether it be social media, whether it be politics, whether it be whatever. And it's all about what we care about and what we give our attention to. And so the more we educate them, we're curious about why they, are interested in these things, and why they continue to pay attention to these things. The more we're able to understand why they are where they are, we can impart on them the knowledge that we have, and just hope that it sticks. And probably have a better, have more faith in the fact that it will stick, because we've taken the time to have those conversations with them. So I think that's what it's all about.
Okay, so growing up in a generation that started off with like not a lot of social media, and then growing up into it, not all social media is bad, in my opinion. I feel like we try to fight it so much instead of actually learning how to use it and flip it over. So we say that our kids are watching inappropriate things, or they're getting influenced in a bad way. Well, why not teach them how to use it in a positive way? I know back when we were younger, we had a lot of events. We had the talent show, we had cultural festivals and all that other stuff. And if we were on social media, that's what we were talking about. So I feel like if we find a way to incorporate social media positively in our city, it'll expand out and it'll teach other kids how to use it more properly. Social media has also become a big coping mechanism, because once again, these children feel like they don't have anyone to talk to. I know people may say, oh, well, just go to a counselor and all that other stuff. It's usually, honestly, it's not that easy. And then you also have people who don't believe, you have people whose families don't believe in going to counseling. So they turn to the only thing that relates to them, which is social media, and mainly TikTok. TikTok is very positive and negative, and it fluctuates on who has the phone. I say that because I see it a lot personally in my family. My younger sister, she's 10 years old, I think. She makes a lot of TikToks. She's always on her phone. But that is because she's not really social. My family isn't really the most social butterfly type of family. But she finds comfort in it, and she's a really good girl, and she understands like what's wrong and what's right. It's more so a mindset thing Because like you said, there's gonna be distractions everywhere. Even if we didn't have social media, there's gonna be things that's influencing these kids in the wrong way. We just need to be the ones to be able to lead the right. So I feel like, this generation has more of a, oh, I see him doing that, and he's getting big off of this, or he's making money off of that, so let me go do that. We need more positive influences, teaching about the work, the real world, and what's going on.
Also, social media is more than just like TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, everything is social media. If you're watching TV, you see things on CNN, they're talking, they're being social, talking about things that are going on within the world, that's social media. It's different types of media. You're saying, okay, oh, this is social media. No, it's not. Everything is social media. Any interaction you have, a person that's talking about a current event, past praying about what's gonna happen in 10 years with the asteroid coming out of the sky, whatever, it's all social media. So I think the sooner we get out of that and realize that we don't exist labels that people are putting, we kind of use that to the lie and put separation between the generations. We can see that it's all the same. So that's it.
Okay, like I've been hearing from everybody else, social media is a good and bad thing. You have a whole lot of good things such as like donations, sponsorships, pledges to different people, like girls who code and things like that. And then you also have the negative effects, especially Instagram, which promotes body dysmorphia mostly. You see what you like, and you're like, man, I wish I was like this person, instead of finding the self-love in yourself to be like, I'm me. I love myself. I'm going to treat myself because I love me. But no, we don't do that. And that transitioning period into high school is really tough for adolescents, only because you're thinking of yourself negatively and you're probably bullied and things like that. But as society changed, unfortunately, cyberbullying just became typical. But then when you find out what you want in a person that you're jealous of, when you actually have it, you just find out that your goal that you wanted was actually plastic and it hurts. And then you're left to pick up all of the pieces and then try and start again.
I feel like social media has good and bad effects, like everybody has said. It's honestly just knowing how to use it and how, like I said, how to use it for what you want to benefit from it. But when it comes to the younger generation, I feel like it does need to be more supervised. A lot of people just give their kids their phone, and just tell them to do what they do just to shut them up, you know. But it needs to be more of a an advised thing because it is a lot going on. But social media it can really be beneficial when you have certain things going on. Like me personally, I try to use social media as a platform to grow my brand. I'm a motivational speaker, and so I try to use that to my advantage to try to spread a positive message as to what you can do to try to better yourself and try to disconnect. You got to disconnect sometimes from social media because it's not always a positive outlet. And like they said, people do use it to cope. So it's not really the best coping mechanism. And when you have that as a coping mechanism and you see that that's the only thing that you have, it can kind of be like a draining thing. So you're just pouring out and you're not receiving anything. So it can kind of just create a rabbit hole. And once you fall down a rabbit hole, it's pretty hard to get out unless you really tap into yourself and disconnect. Like I call it lock in and block out. Lock into what you want and block out everything else.
And block out, Josh.
Yes, so social media to me, it's a huge issue. I coach for the Dayton Wolverines, the track team, so I'm around a lot of kids. And you can't have your phone out when you about to get on this track. No TikTok, no Instagram, 30 videos, boomerang, all that. Please put all that out the window because in the long run, what is it for you? So, and it's really affecting not just the younger generation, but even college students that are trying to make their way now, or even graduating, they're still dealing with a lot of the bullying and things that they just see on social media, which kind of goes into the coping methods. Do us as youth really have good coping methods? Because there is a big issue with the growing population of youth and even just adults, because there's adults I never noticed or knew that they did some type of tobacco thing, but the vaping now is just, it's blowing up like crazy. And kids with drugs and weed and any kind of drug they're bringing into schools, that's not really the best way to come. So we have another panelist up here with us, Ms. Ty. Yes. I'm gonna ask you the question first. Why do you feel like vaping or weed or just anything of that type of the man-made kind of coping methods? Why do you think like that is such a big issue now?
Yes, hello, everyone. I am Taija Gary, as you stated. I currently attend Central State University. And so I think that the factually with vaping, weed, all of that is, as you guys said before, a coping mechanism, but not only that, those things calm the mind, right? And so I'm glad that now we are introducing a conversation of going to go actually see a therapist, going to go actually see a doctor so that they can prescribe, if needed, medicines to calm your mind, right? Because if this down bad $10, now I don't have to think about my grades or think about my mind, what's going on at home, right? We have those kids going to that. And then also having someone be a listening ear, a lot of people lack that with no judgment. And so I say college, drugs, weed are everywhere. It's especially in my age group, it's everywhere. But a lot of people feel like, you know, it's no point in talking about it. Can't nobody tell me what I got going on. So I'm about to turn to this, smoke my little whatever so that I can feel better. But in reality, it's turning into an addiction, it's turning into, you know, something that's not healthy. And then also, you guys are talking about social media, it's a trend. It's cute. All you see is the rappers. And even now, a lot of women, like, it's cute to go date. It's cute to have hookah. It's cute to, you know, smoke a little weed or whatever the case may be. So of course the kids are going to follow the trends, but it's up to us as a community to start telling them like, this is not it. And this is what it can lead to. A lot of kids, I hear a lot of young men, I want to play basketball, I want to do this. Sir, there are things that you got to stop doing to do that. There's young women that's like, oh, well, I want a model and I want this. Babe, you can't have black lips trying to be a model. You know, it's not going to work. So I feel like it starts with us as a community making it an untrend, if that's the word, I just make that up. But you know, but I think that's what we need to do. And I think that we need to find other ways to let people calm their mind. You know, and I think that it's up to us. What can I do? You know, because we often say, oh, you shouldn't do this. Okay, we can't tell them what they shouldn't do, but what can we do to help them? Right? I know, like, at Central State, they just introduced yoga class as a credit. And it's literally yoga class. Like, you could go and I see so many people, it's like, I feel so much better. Or like you said, you can shut down your phone to close your mind down. Like, I think that that's what we need to start doing. Start telling them, hey, you got to stop doing this. Okay, I can stop doing it, but what you gonna do to help me? Stop doing it, you know? So yeah. Anybody else have an answer?
Yes, everything that she just said was basically perfectly explained. But going back on the what can I do and how do I cope? So yes, I'm not gonna see her act like I'm a perfect little angel. I have done those things. And I have found a way how to cope with my anxiety, I would say. Sometimes I still do it, but I will not do it if I know that there's something that important that I have to do. There is a point I'm trying to get at to where I do want to completely stop. But as right now, this is what's helping me. And it's not affecting my life in a negative way. I am somebody I believe that weed it can be negative, but it can also be positive. And I feel like there's such a huge argument with it. Instead of people trying to come to a compromise, it's splitting us more apart. And I feel like it's very hard. I did attend Central State. And my freshman year, it was something that I did constantly, but I was much new to it. And I was dealing with a lot of more mental things. And it's like she said, you feel like, hey, I don't have anyone to talk to. nobody really understanding, so this is what I'm gonna turn to. And that's exactly what I did, and I saw how it negatively affected my life. So on my break of not attending school, because I am not in school right now, I have dialed back a lot. And it has definitely made me sit and think about my feelings. I do talk a lot about my feelings a lot more. And there are people that listen to me. And I feel like because people try to walk around like they're just this perfect person and say, you shouldn't do that, or it's bad, second, third, especially with parents, they'll sit there and get on their kids, but they won't say, hey, I did this too when I was younger. I understand, I know how you feel. I feel like instead of telling them, no, you shouldn't do it, you need to sit there and educate them, because I'm not gonna lie to you, 9 times out of 10, these kids are gonna do what they want. So I would rather sit there and tell you how to do it, where to do it, and who to go to, rather than just tell you no when you go figure it out on your own and you wind up dead somewhere because I didn't give you that education on you. So that's really my take on it. I just really wish people would want to act like that they've been through it and actually open up to these kids, because when we hear that other people opened up about it, it makes us feel a lot better, and it lets us know, hey, we're not alone. So, yeah.
Yeah, also with vaping, it's quite addicting considering you have all of these flavors. Like it's probably one that has bubble gum. I don't even know. I don't vape. Sorry. But I guess people don't. But yeah, it's really addicting to people. If you don't have it, then you just lose your mind. If you get so used to taking it, you're just trained to take it at a specific time. And once you don't take it, you're done. That's just the thing. Yeah. It's.
I say like what I do to cope. I use meditation as a way to disconnect. Yeah, I say it really does calm the mind like afterwards. It's just like a relief. I talk to myself sometimes. Like I look in the mirror, I use affirmation, and it really just it's just like a connection with yourself. And once you realize like you are one with a lot everything, you know, it's just you can embrace it a lot more, and that's what meditation did for me. And so I read as well. That really helps a lot. Like just dealing with different things, and read is not for everybody. So I know audio books works as well. Also just having people to talk to, getting involved in different groups, learning yourself and getting engaged in your community, because 9 times out of 10, you're not the only person going through what you're going through. We try to be so what is the word? We try to be so different for everybody. And I mean, yes, everybody is different, but you're not the only person going through what you're going through. So sometimes just being open and also being a listening ear is very beneficial for you and for others as well. So just keep that in mind. Just be a shoulder to lean on, and also, you know, lean on somebody's shoulder sometimes. Don't edge God out, which is your ego.
Yeah. Okay, I would like to reiterate on what he said about basically talking to people. Once you realize that you need help, that's actually very mature, because you're saying, hey, I need help. And usually asking for help is very difficult, because in society, we're like trained to basically be like, oh, if I need help, I'm toughen it out by myself, I'm gonna do it myself. But no, if you said that you need help, you are literally helping yourself. And then with that, you can help others too.
To piggyback on what she said, because it's like, every time I get on Instagram, it's always me versus me. What's supposed to be? Like, that doesn't even make sense, or me against the world. Like, you gonna have your issues, and you feel like the world's out to get you, but it's like, things are going to happen. But let me tell you my experience. I am a very big sweetie. I cry at everything. Like, if somebody cried in a movie, trust, I will be crying too. But, I love to read, like, language is my favorite. I'm also in the band, so if I get mad, little my woman whenever I want. Like I said, I take karate, so I'm not gonna beat on people for free. It's like, I sometimes, I relax. Saturday, I had a competition, I was mad, I was just praying, I'd be like, God, please just help me get to this day, because I really gotta sit back and step back and be like, okay, you're mad, you need to have, like, you need to chill. Because I get mad, and I was like, I do not suffer. Okay, but I don't punch the wall, I punch myself, and it gets to a point where my hands start hurting. So I eventually stopped doing that, no, I do not suffer. So, it's like, I gotta learn. But I really need to learn how to like dial back and not get so flustered, cause I got two brothers. Real man, like, one, every time I turn around, he's in my room. I cut off my phone, TV, there he is at the door. What you doing? So it's like, they do get on my nerves, but it's like, I gotta learn how to, not get so mad all the time, cause when I get mad, all I hear is, "You're not their mom." So I can't talk to them how I want to, cause although they do make me mad, it's like, so, yeah, they need to really find a way, because it's not it. Yeah, it don't make sense, like, I'm sorry, but like, let's sit here and think, right? You go through something and you be like, okay, I'm gonna smoke some weed. The problem is not gonna go away. You just gonna forget about it for a little minute. It's not gonna go away. So let's do you tell them the thing about that. Like, I know a lot. And I'm proud of myself because all those people that I've been around to do it, I'm doing it. So, one of the story, don't get influenced over something like that. Like, I just found out that this dude, he was doing, I was, really? What we doing? So it's really like, find other ways to do, like, don't just be like, oh, that's my main house. Think of other ways to, like, it's, take a bike ride, go to the world. I mean, do something, you ain't gotta always want to do it. And then, now you're just wasting your own on some weed. I'm sorry, but like, really? Weed? Really? Weed job. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. So we're gonna wrap this up. I have one more question for my new panelist who is in college, who goes to Central State University, go HBCUs. But as a college student as well, and I've seen some things that happened at Tennessee State this past week. There was a freshman and she took her own life. Because I feel like the judgment, social media, and just not having resources or coping mechanisms, or just people, once we leave our nest of our parents, you don't really still have those people to talk to, or you might not have had those people to begin with. So you go out and and feel like, okay, I got it now, you talk to anybody, but that might not always be the case. So do you feel Central State, are they offering y'all some good coping mechanisms, or just people to help you out if there's anything that you guys?
Yes, I love my HBCU. Yes, once you, but I will say that Central State has definitely listened out to the private students
And I'm not even just gonna say Central State, I'm gonna say colleges in general, to the pride of the mental health pandemic that we are in right now with youth. And I will say that they are trying to take a more modern approach, because yes, we can say therapy, we have counseling services on campus, but I know that especially in our Black men, it's difficult to say, let me go walk to counseling services and get some help. And so I think that there are numerous ways, and I've even sat with our president and our board and student engagements, a lot of student leaders on campus, like we need to start, inviting mentorship. Right, so I'm a senior, I graduated in the fall, I'm done with Central, oh Jesus, amen. But I definitely went through a lot at Central, I went through the same thing that you went through your freshman year, I wasn't always what I am now. And I definitely turned to substances at some point, especially my first semester, leaving home, I was the first person to go to college, and homeboy next to me, like, I got this for $10 to get your mind off it, going into that, stopping myself from that, right? Going out into the community. Thank you to Dr. Barr, Mr. White, Advisor Mason, to connecting with them so that I can still call them now, like, listen, I don't feel like doing my work. I got senior, right? Listen, they can speak life into me. That's like, listen, get up, you're almost done. So I think that, taking people under your wing, I was a RA in the freshman dorm in Williamson the semester after COVID-19. And let me tell you, a lot of youth did not know how to talk to each other. And I mean that in the most literal way. And I hosted events, speed friending or whatever. So to show you how to communicate, because you're in a house for a whole year, strictly on social media, strictly virtual, you lose your social skills. And that age, that's when you form them. And so like 10 people under my wing, it's okay to go to, administration office and say, hey, I'm this, I'm that, I just want to introduce myself. And it's scary that a lot of our youth don't know that. And so again, I'm real big on solutions, because we can talk about the problems all day. And I think that Central State and colleges are being, like I said, more modern. The yoga class, having counseling services, having Man Up Monday, where the men can come together and talk about their problems. Woman Up Wednesday, where we can talk about our problems. And like everyone, I think we're all in agreement. When you hear someone else going through the same thing that you went through, it's like, ooh, so I'm not crazy. Okay, good, I feel better. So I think that, in the wake of that situation, rest and having that, that young lady, but it's starting to open our minds more. This is serious. Like it's getting bad, it's getting worse, especially with social media nowadays. Everybody's trying to be perfect. So I think it's not only up to Central State, but it's up to us as a community. And I'm real big on speaking life into the person next to you, because you don't know what that will mean to them in that space, because that has brought down a lot of spaces. Just somebody simply telling you you're gonna be something with it. And that could solve all my problems at some point, just hearing that. So I think that Central State is doing an amazing job for God for Central State.
Thank you for that.
Before we go, I did say I do information, so I just wanted everybody to speak life into themselves today. So I let everybody here speak an affirmation today. I am good. There you go. Speak life into yourself every day.
Let's start here with us right here in the youth council. Be that one person to talk to somebody and tell them, hey, if you need help, go get that help. And there are people out here that can help. My auntie right here, she came today just to let us know and be that person that if you need the phone number, you need to know who to call, or you have somebody who you know that they need to know somebody to call. There are people out there to help.
My 30th year. I'm a graduate of Tennessee State University, but I'm more importantly, a native of Dayton. And the stigma in the Black community about addressing mental health has always been scattered or pray it out, or you see the pray more and do more. I can honestly give my own testimony. My mother took me to therapy at the age of 13 because of anxiety, panic, and all those different things. And then when I became a sophomore in school, my only movement left me with suicide because her boyfriend broke up with her. And it's interesting, I was studying psychology and social work at the time. I knew what to do in a crisis. So I called the ambulance, I called her mother, I called the dorm director, and got her to the help she needed. But I say all that to say mental health needs to be addressed as a real diagnosis. I do a medication assisted treatment program. I work with addicts every day, people living with HIV, fentanyl, all the overdoses and everything that goes on. I do work at a federally qualified healthcare center. But the goal is we need more people to go into the field of social work, and mental health, because so many people are afraid to talk about it. And for Ada to call me, oh, by the way, somebody on my floor committed suicide. You didn't even call me. She said, it's okay, and everything that their mom instilled in them. Everybody didn't have that same type of spiritual foundation that was given to them. However, Zora, I'm so proud of her getting up there and modeling today to talk about the issue that people don't want to talk about. With a 3-year-old or a 6-year-old that haven't heard it and think that it was okay to shoot their children. So please talk to your children, engage, be in touch with your children's emotions, even 30-something years later, 40-something years later, to say that I went to therapy and look at how God is able to use me immensely and blessing so many people in this community. So God bless, thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. And now,
Thank you, Madam Vice President Zora Body. Let's give her a standing round of applause. That graduated from Tennessee State University as well. So when I see those timers coming up, and we got a lot of them right here, you know, we got a boss, you know, as ECU. So and to this distinguished panel. That when you talk about youth development, that's what we do at the NAACP. It's about youth development. That's one of the pillars in our organization throughout this country, throughout the 2,200 units throughout this country. That is one of the main, we call them 21st century game changers, and there's only 6 of them. Youth and young adult engagement is one of those 6. Because it's that important that we're training and developing, mentoring, developing, and also receiving knowledge and wisdom from them as well. So that's what we do at this robust body known as NAACP. What we do before we close out, and I'll make our state president to come up, because we do have the state of Purdue. She tried to very and tell you that she is the state conference president for the NAACP. And as who take on of the Houston College Division, but as our state president, there are also divisions. Senator Tom, I expect he may come up because I know this is something that many people start as well from you to know. And then I'm also right there as he's studying, we advise our state to come out. And that's something to share for 1 week. It was 1 week in the state level. And then this panel, as well as advisor Brad and advisor White, I want them to come up and get a photo with us to see this. Thank you, and I look forward and thank all of you for being here. Thank this panel for sharing this information and knowledge with us. I asked President Forward and others to host a meeting down in my university about 2 weeks ago. Well, I was at the Kent State listening to some students, and they shared some of the same things that you shared with us today. It takes a lot of courage, and the root word of courage is heart. And you shared your hearts with us, and I want you to know, you may be old, you know, some of us of me age, but we hear what you're saying. We hear what you're saying. I share this story. My mother will be 100 years old in a few weeks. I'm 71. So God is going to give me between 71 and 100 to be on this earth, to listen, to share, not tell this lady here and others. I can't take it to the grave. I'm going to share with you, and you shared your hearts with us today. I thank you for that. I still have a lot of questions, but I'm going to take my seat and thank all of you for having the courage to share your words. We are listening, by the way. We are listening. I come from a small family of 10. And my brother
sisters have given me at least 20 or 30 nieces and nephews. And so you can imagine what the Roberts table was like at Easter and Christmas and Thanksgiving. A lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge. And you have shared your hearts with us today. And that, my friends, is courage. Thank you for being here. Thank you on behalf of the Ohio Conference of Branch of NAACP and the entire NAACP family. 114 years, right, Mr. President? And we depend on the next generation to do what our ancestors did for us. Thank you for being here.
Hello, my name is Claudia Mason. I'm the State Youth and College Advisor. And I want to first recognize Taija Perry. This is my second term being the advisor, and Taija Perry, her energy is infectious. She has put a shot in the arm to our division, and I'm so proud of her. She is considering going to law school. And her energy is just amazing. The NAACP or the youth councils are a perfect opportunity to engage young people, to get them exposed to civic engagement. We have several state youth units here. We have Little John Jr., we have Dayton Youth Council, and we have the high school chapter at Thurgood Marshall. I was involved in establishing the high school chapter. Of course, it makes perfect sense to have NAACP chapter at Thurgood Marshall, you know, the history of Thurgood Marshall. I see Viola Westwood and Ms. Brenham continuing the chapter there. And I just want to stress, we need to give, I see educators here, I see parents here, you are all, I'm sure most of you touch the lives of young people. We need to give them every opportunity. Some of the youth here mentioned family, community. The youth councils are a perfect opportunity to engage the students or engage young people in the issues that impact this community and empower them to feel like they can make a positive difference in the community. Whether it's manning a voter registration table or a cleanup, a community cleanup, whatever it is. I'm also the Army JROTC instructor at Bentonville High School, and service learning is a big part of our program. Volunteering at the food bank and volunteering at the soup kitchen. I forgot, House of Bread. Those are the kind of things that stay with our young people and make them feel like they can make a positive difference in this community. And it may seem small, but I think it's so important to convey to our young people that they can make a difference and impact people's lives for the better. I just want to congratulate all the young people here. One thing I want to say, in addition to encouraging young people to join or establish youth councils, NAACP youth councils, is one thing I've implemented as an educator. I use Friday as Mental Health Day. And it could be as simple as, hey, it's a beautiful day, let's take a walk. Hey, let's go to the gym. Just hang out in the gym, bounce a ball, relax, talk to your friends. I have a box under my desk of games that we can play on Friday. I will tell you, my kids love that. They love that time to socialize with their fellow classmates. And just watching them know that there are rules to the game and honor those rules without having a big fit about it, whether it's Uno, Connect Four, whatever it is. But we need to give these young people opportunities to socialize without the electronic devices. Little things like that. One young man the other day said, can we just go for a walk today? I said, hey, it's raining outside. He really missed that time of going outside. I want to say another thing. What touched me is The point a lot of the young people here made about, hey, can we just talk? Sometimes it's difficult talking to young people. They put up walls. And sometimes I'll speak for me, I just had a birthday, I saw me stand up. We have to break through those uncomfortable situations. And I was reminded, I have students in my class that I feel like I need to talk to, but I haven't figured out how. I know they're going through something. There are some that I can talk to and they're more expressive, and there are some that have those walls up. But I want to encourage you to try to break through those walls, as awkward as it might feel, because you might be truly making I want to say saving somebody's life. You might be making a huge impact on them and making them choose a better way. All right. All right, thank you all. I appreciate it, and I want to applaud again the young people. Thank you.
And, so if you have third Marshall, students here, as well as online, so what is the official name of the high school chapter?
Apparently, it's moved forward, his last name. Thurgood Marshall High School. Chapter. Okay, I'm not sure why you pointed that out, because Thurgood Marshall is a big deal. I don't agree. I think he is. I think.
All right, thank you. And also, I want to ask, as a right here and by the brand, I want this person to lead us in the NAACP chant, and that is Advisor Salon. Advisor Salon, they vice right here. It's still here today. It's about 2000, 2004, 2003, when you do. So lead us in that chant as they come up, to take a picture of this, now. So come on, and then we're gonna do the chant, and then we're gonna close out. So, Cherry McGee, and on the line for Cherry Smith, come in the middle, and, so we can do that chant. Participation now. You have to be a part of this.
Okay, we all need to stand up and let's get motivated and step up a little bit. And as I repeat the words, just repeat after me. You want to check a little bit, have the hands, do move back and back. Give me a hand.
All right, so I'm still here, so with that, you can make your way, that'll be great. So next month, the topic is going to be on criminal justice. And the criminal justice system, which is, our chair is Reverend Dr. Levi Fox. This topic is going to be similar to the topic that you heard today. You will get more in depth from a criminal justice standpoint. So if you want to hear more from you from a criminal justice standpoint, join us next time. Until then, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord bless NAACP, and may the Lord bless the United States of America. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah.